Lazy, worthless. Yeah, you. You don't live here. Go somewhere else. Sorry to disturb your nap. We're at our garage where we will be rolling out the 2017 Ford Escape SUV. I don't think too many people buy SUVs for their styling, but this is a pretty decent looking rig. And here's our peak from the rear. Shipped it all the way from Michigan just for us. The base price of a Ford Escape runs around $24,000. This Escape was loaded up with options, as you can see. I won't read it off, you can just look at the camera. Over $7,600 in extra options. So I was suffering from a mild case of sticker shock when I saw the total tab. Actually, this is cheap because I looked at the Ford option list and found out if you load these up with everything, you can touch a whopping $40,000. Before we take a look at these specifications and do a test drive, we're going to take these headlights out and see how they perform in the dark, as we always do in my videos. So let's do that right now. Looks dark enough to me. Let's check out these headlights and see how they perform. Here we have the low beams on a wall 100 feet away. Adequate enough. High beams, a lot better. Here we have the high beams on a building 300 feet away. More than adequate light. Low beams just barely make it. More than adequate for city traffic. I don't have any problem with the headlights. I do have a big problem with the interior lights. Every time you open the doors, the interior lights come on. There's no disconnect switch to keep the interior lights off. This isn't good. If you're out camping in the dark, it means every time you get in the car, the headlights come on. It drains the battery down, and worse, it attracts insects, ruins your night vision. There should be, but there is not, a switch to disconnect the interior lights. That is definitely minus a few points here. Even the interior cabin lights in the rear don't have a disconnect switch. So when I say you're going to open the door and see lots of light, it's not an understatement. I had the same interior light complaint on the 2017 Ford Explorer we tested. So this appears to be a common problem in many upgraded Ford products, and it really needs to be solved. We're going to take a look at engine options, but first of all, this is my first gripe with this vehicle right off the bat. Almost every car manufacturer on the planet puts a hood release right in the middle where you can easily find it. Ford engineers, as of late, have been putting them in crazy places way off to the left or way off to the right. So if you need to open the hood some night because your engine's on fire and you got your hand running along back and forth trying to find the hood release, it's way over here on the left where it shouldn't be. The base engine is a 2.5 liter putting out to 168 horsepower, rated at 21 to 29 mpg. For extra money, you can get the 1.5 liter EcoBoost, putting out to 179 horsepower, rated at 23 to 30 mpg. If you're a big spender or horsepower hungry, you might want this 2 liter like I have. 245 horsepower, 275 foot-pounds of torque, hooked to a 6-speed automatic transmission. To put things in perspective, this 2017 Audi sedan I'm driving puts out 252 horsepower from its turbo engine. The Audi cost a bit more at $52 grand, of course. We'll be doing a video on this car next week. Be sure to give it a look. In the meantime, back to the Ford Escape. Fuel economy is rated at 22 to 29 mpg in two-wheel drive. Subtract 1 mpg for four-wheel drive, which I did not get. I've already run out of half a tank of gas on this vehicle. In city driving, I'm getting 18 to 19 mpg. We're going to take it out on the freeway and see if we can improve on that. Let's take a look at the interior. Our federal government bureaucrats rate this as a 5-passenger, 2 in the front, 3 in the second row seating, which isn't going to happen unless you're hauling 3 chimpanzees back here. This is a real-world 4-passenger vehicle, which is fine. Any SUV this size is a 4-passenger anyway. I'm not picking on Ford here. Of course, the seats do fold down for rear storage capacity. A lot of people on the internet have been complaining about the Ford Escape interiors, saying they're cheap looking, and I don't know what they're complaining about actually. There's nothing wrong with this cabin. We get a nice gauge cluster with lots of useful information. A very simple to use climate control system. A simple to use stereo and navigation system. An extra large glove box. A decent sized console. Ooh, money. The sun visors slide back and forth to block out the sun. Frankly, I don't have any complaints about the cabin. I think it's very well designed, the materials and workmanship. Not the fanciest, but more than adequate for this price class. The only possible complaint I could see coming would be if you try to fit 3 full-size people in the second row seating, but that's not going to happen with any compact SUV anyway, so don't try it. That is, unless you have relatives visiting that you hate and you want to get rid of them. Stick 3 or 4 back here for a couple hours and they'll go back home. Usually when I'm reviewing an SUV, I don't cover things like steering feel, high-speed handling, or engine power, because that would be in the sports car category. But in the case of this Ford Escape, so equipped the way it is, this actually drives like a sports car, so we're going to look at some of those features I just mentioned. Number 1, the steering ratio on this vehicle is quick. Very quick. You move the wheel, the vehicle moves. So you have to pay attention to what you're doing, especially on high-speed corners, or if you're traveling down the highway at high speeds. Number 2, with these optional 18-inch wheels and bigger tires, the cornering ability of this vehicle is excellent for an SUV. Actually out-corners many cars I've driven lately. Number 3, these brakes are extremely responsive, but to some people that might mean a little bit too sensitive. You touch the pedal, you get instant response. That's what I want in my vehicle. Duller drivers, well, it might take you a while to get used to this. But these brakes really are outstanding. Below 2,000 RPM, this engine's a real pussycat, but once the turbo starts kicking in around 2,000 to 3,000 RPM, it really takes off and you have to pay attention to what you're doing. Got a bunch of wheel spin there. This SUV is no slouch. Once again, thankful for the nice brakes. The base Escape comes with 17-inch tires and wheels. I have not driven that, so I don't know how the ride quality is. With these larger 18-inch wheels and bigger tires, I did find the ride to be a bit on the firm side in city driving. We're going to take them on the speed bumps and see how they perform there. Okay, let's do it. Speed bump coming up at 25 miles per hour. Heard it. but didn't feel it too much. Here comes another one at 30 miles an hour. Another one. And the big nasty one. Those wheels did generate a lot of noise on the speed bumps, but the suspension and the vehicle, which is very tightly put together, didn't suffer at all, so I'm not complaining. I'd say it passed the test. Unfortunately, there's one area where the Ford Escape suffers, and it doesn't matter what wheel package you get or engine option you choose. And that's the way the dash reflects into the windshield. You can see it on the camera here. The air vents down here below. The stereo speaker in the middle. There's not too much you can do about this. In all fairness, the reflections only happen when you're driving directly into the sun. It doesn't happen when you're not. As you can see here, I have a clear windshield. So this isn't a serious issue. It's just something that can be annoying every now and then. The owner's manual says you can use standard 87 octane in the EcoBoost engines, but if you want maximum performance for heavy-duty use like towing, you should use premium. Well, let's put in standard 87 and see what happens. I don't like these capless fuel systems, but that's what we're stuck with here. At only 18 miles per gallon, this vehicle's expensive enough to run as it is. I'm not going to make it more so by using premium, not on this fill-up anyway. The Escape is a nice city vehicle thanks to the high horsepower and small size. But we're going to take it out on a freeway trip to see if we can improve the fuel economy. The Escape is a nice freeway vehicle with excellent high-speed stability and plenty of passing power thanks to the EcoBoost engine. Okay, here we go. A 90-mile trip, 24.8 going on an upgrade. We'll be making a return trip going downhill. This is highway trip number 2. We're going to see if we can get some better MPG figures off this engine. So stay tuned. So we got 24.8 MPG going there, 27.8 coming back. That averages out to 26.3 MPG, which is our official highway mileage on this particular vehicle for my test. The Ford Escape can be taken off pavement as long as it's light duty use. Since this Ford has enough ground clearance to go off-road, I thought I'd visit some ghost towns. That building is from 1880. Not much left. The old building where they would grind up the gold ore. Then you have the steps to the executive mansion, which is now a garage with no roof. Gonna be a full moon tonight. I don't think I want to be hanging around here. Here's my take on the 2017 Ford Escape. It is a nice vehicle, and if you spend more money, you make it even nicer. Going from a base $24,000 to an optional $34,000, I guess I could handle. But going from $34,000 to the $40,000 models I've been hearing about, that seems a bit much to me. Perhaps I can get one of those high-dollar $40,000 Platinum models for a future test drive. Personally, I think I could be happy with the base vehicle at $24 grand and the base engine, if it was my money. But as always, the choice is yours. From the base car at $24 grand up to $40 grand, you have a wide range to choose from. So if you're looking for a compact SUV that's fun to drive, give it a look.